5:30, we'll call to order the City Council Committee regular meeting. And we will go to the Nominations Committee and Maddie Smith, Chair.
So it's back to some housekeeping time again for us on the Nominations Committee. Currently, the Airport Advisory Board, the ordinance that was put in 2021 states that a percentage of the people sitting on the board have to reside in the city limits. We are really having a hard time to find people who live in the city limits who also have planes and aviation dreams there. So I would like to maybe make a motion to amend the ordinance to where it just states that we have 7 members on the board that should all reside in the county, Erath County, and not just the city limits of Stevensville.
Madam Chair, did you make that as a motion, or?
I will make that as a motion
Okay.
that we amend the current amendment, or the current ordinance from 2 in the city limits to, just all 7 members of the board have to reside in the county.
I'll second that.
Anybody have any questions or concerns about the ordinance change? All in favor of that change?
Aye.
I will note that moves forward to council with a positive recommendation. With that, we also have a current seat open on the Airport Advisory Board. And we had a few applicants, but the applicant that stood out to me the most was Mr. Brandon Johnson. And so I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Brandon Johnson to the Airport Advisory Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We'll move that to fourth council with positive recommendation. And with that, Mr. Mayor, that ends the nominations committee report.
Thank you, Maddie. We'll go to Public Works Committee and Alan Nix, Chair.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item is I'm gonna call it a rerun. We used public management last year to apply for a CDBG grant for downtown improvements, which would include some sidewalk rehab, street reconstruction, drainage, water, sewer, and other things in the downtown area. We were not successful with that last year, but public management is going to, if we choose to use them, they will represent us again in submitting the proper documentation for the grant request. And what the grant basically is for $1 million. To up our score in that grant, we recommend doing a 5% match, which is $50,000 if we receive the full amount. Last year we were 4 and they granted 3. This year we hope to do better, but the public management assures us that we will have as good a chance as we did last year. Public management basically receives a fee for applying for this for us. It's at a percentage of the grant that is awarded if the grant is rewarded. So it is at no risk to the city for them to do the preparation and submission. The only way they get money is if the grant is awarded and if we accept it. We still have the option, should the grant be awarded to us, not to accept it, but it would be really hard to turn down $1 million for improvements on the square if we were offered the opportunity to do that. I have looked at the recommendation of staff, and we have reviewed public management's presentation, and they are the best submission that we received for this. And it's staff's recommendation that we award the contract to them. I should say we make a recommendation to the council to award the contract to them to do the grant submission. Are there any questions or comments from anybody on the council, on the committee?
Yes, sir. What was the reason that we got declined for it last year?
We were 4 out of, I'm not sure how many, but they only awarded the top 3.
So, I'll speak to that. So they do 2 separate grants for downtowns, and one is specific to Main Street cities, and that's what we applied for. The year before, they funded 6. So when we first found out we were 4th, we thought, woohoo, we're home free. And then for whatever reason, they only funded 3 this year. But it's just how the scores fell out, and in looking at all of our data, these are formula grants. so your scores are kind of what they are from low to moderate income and other different factors. I think public management's thought is really to up our score a little. If we'll throw a little money in as well, then that helps give us a little better attractive look at the state level.
Sure.
But I like this grant. I want us to be successful with it. And our competition pool is a little smaller because it's only with other Main Street cities.
And I take it the three that won last year can't win it again this year?
You wouldn't expect that. I mean, everybody's welcome to apply. The other thought is that, so we had applied for 2 CDBG grants this year. You remember the other one was on Tarleton
Mhm.
Street.
Yes.
And we were awarded that one. And I think, in fact, at the last meeting, we had some contracts related to that we asked for approval on moving forward over there. So that probably stacks some odds against us getting 2 separate ones in 1 year. So this year, we're just gonna focus on this one and see if all those factors kind of help us shake out a little better.
Sounds good to me.
Any other questions or comments? Motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we recommend to the city to apply through the public management for this grant.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the next item on our agenda tonight is the Harbin Drive Crosswalk Beacons project. When Harbin Drive was constructed, there was a crosswalk that was installed at an intersection near the stadium to facilitate crossing at that area from the neighboring parking areas as well as the neighborhood that's across the street. We've noticed an increase in pedestrian traffic as well as vehicular traffic on Harbin Drive since it was constructed. We put out for bids the traffic beacons, I believe is what they're called, for this pedestrian crossing. It'll be similar to the ones, not exactly like, but similar to the ones that are on Fry Street close to the new football stadium. Hopefully this will make pedestrian crossings in that area safer and alert the traffic to the fact that there are pedestrians crossing in this area and keep the traffic flowing as well as the pedestrians crossing. We got a couple of bids on this. The low bid was from Texas Traffic LLC of Everman for $147,580. This was actually less than we had anticipated it being, and it was less than the other bid that we received. Because of that, staff recommends that we go ahead and recommend to the council that we enter into a contract with them for the construction of these. Once that contract is awarded, then they will be able to go ahead and do the final engineering and design and the other things that they need to do the installation. They estimate 120 calendar days to be able to complete that project once the project is awarded. Staff recommends that. Staff checked their references, and they had good references from TxDOT and from other cities that they had done work for. And apparently the equipment, and there's pictures of the equipment in your packet if you'd like to look at it. And there's also a map that shows the location at Tarleton, at the intersection of Tarleton and Harbin. Staff recommends this. It's a little more than we budgeted for, but it's not a significant amount. And I'm sure that we'll be able to secure the additional funds. It's a minimal amount above what we allocated for that. Any questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I make the motion that we send the Texas Traffic LLC bid in the amount of $147,580 to council for the positive recommendation for the Harbin Drive crosswalk beacons.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any other comment? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That passes. Both of these will go to the council with a favorable recommendation at the next regular council meeting. That's all of my work for tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, Alan. We'll adjourn this meeting at 5:39, and we'll call to order at 5:40, City Council Special Meeting. And I will ask the city manager.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, members of council, the first thing we'll talk about is consider approval of our Wi-Fi replacement, the equipment in all of our buildings that gives you your Wi-Fi signals, whether it's City Hall and our other buildings. It's several years old, and I guess the way IT explains it to me, it's beyond end of life. It needed to be replaced, and so we put in this year's budget about $72,000 to replace that. They've got a quote to replace everything. The quote is actually $74,723.30, which is $2,723.30 above what we had budgeted. I'm not concerned about making an adjustment from that, so we can get our equipment up to date. And so with that, I'll answer any questions.
What's the expected lifespan of this system, Jason?
I think realistically, in this world, 5 to 7 years is what you expect. This has gone well beyond that.
What we have now, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And so I think that would, you would expect 5 to 7, but we'll hope for kind of what we got. I know we got our money's worth out of what we have today. And with the kind of equipment they're buying, I would expect that same performance.
Will this equipment be transferable to another location? Should we need to do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I do.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the Wi-Fi replacement as presented.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
All right.
Okay, number 2, discussion of administrative building.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Jeff, if you can go ahead and bring those up on the screen. As you know, last year, we had a conversation surrounding replacing this building with the construction of a new building down at the end of Columbia Street, right there by the rec hall on the hill at City Park. That project ended up not moving forward, but it didn't necessarily alleviate space concerns, parking concerns, all of those kind of things. And so we continued working with council and discussing options on were there ways to move that project forward without a debt issuance and ways to do that. And so as we've explored that, we've worked with a company, North 94 Land Development, and it's represented by some local folks who presented a P3 public-private partnership option, whereby the way the model would work is we would do a land lease to their company for, say, 7 years. As part of that lease, they would then agree to construct a facility on that land, and then we would lease that back from them for that same period of time and pay for the building through that land lease. So it would be a P3 partnership arrangement. This is kind of a very first potential rendering. I don't think it's gonna actually end up looking like that. Jeff, can you flip through the? Yeah. So if you look at that image there, kind of when they had first shown that first rendering, they were anticipating the front kind of facing Long Street. But the more looking at that hill, they think it's advisable to actually face the front towards the rec hall. And by doing that, they could tier that hill easier, thereby cutting down dirt work and costs related with it. So you would end up with parking up at the top, essentially, on the east side of the hill, then come down a little bit to the building, and then drop down even further to parking there, going towards the rec hall. Now, they're not gonna know any of that for sure until we begin work in earnest. And so we're kind of at that point where if we're gonna move forward, we've gotta move forward in a contractual way now. And so the contract that's in front of you tonight is certainly not a contract to go construct a building, but it is a contract where we would contract with the company for them to do all the preliminary work, design a building, do the site survey work, all the preliminary costs that go into construction. So then that could be presented to us, and we could determine if we wanna go forward or not. The number that everybody's kinda talking range-wise is about $3.7 million, for a 12,000 square foot facility, which would roughly space-wise be about twice this building currently, with much better space utilization. And then built in such a way that it could expand in the future somewhere down the road. And so again, this contract doesn't get you a building built. This contract gets all the work done that then allows you to build a building. And so the key point to this contract is they're willing to move forward and take on the cost of doing all that preliminary work. But what this contract says is if you don't move forward after that point, then we want to be reimbursed for the money that we put in to all those preliminary costs, the cost of architectural designs and site surveys and all of those costs. And so that's what this contract is before you tonight, that would start that process to move forward with it. Mr. Thomas has reviewed the contract, and I believe you're okay with this as written. So with that, I'll answer any questions from council.
Questions for Jason?
Is the 10,000, is that the amount?
No, the 10,000 is, if we don't move forward, they want their money back, the
Okay.
10,000.
So just to be clear, if we build this in this manner, the plan would be to leave room for expansion if needed.
Yes.
And changing the placement doesn't affect that at all?
No, in discussions, so if you're talking decades probably before you'd have to have that conversation. But I think you would probably go down where the large pavilion is. I have asked them, not attached to this, because I don't think we would put it in the same project or anything else. But I did ask, hey, I just wanna see a second proposal on the large pavilion. Because if we are in fact gonna move forward and put a nice new facility sitting on the hill, I really don't want the backdrop to be the existing large pavilion, so, as you draw this up, show me something with the large pavilion, recovering it, dressing up the poles that would then match this building. But I want that to be separate, so we could talk about it separately, and
That could be a phase two.
it could be a phase two, yes, sir. But I think in the long run, as you would expand this facility, that's the end that you would do that.
Absolutely. You tie it all together.
Is this something, the P3, is that things that cities are moving towards, or we the first, or?
No, we won't be the first. Cities have done
Okay.
different forms of P3 agreements.
We had spoken before about an athletic facility, but I was just curious. if
Yes,
this is
public,
different.
public-private partnerships have been around, for a while. This particular company, one of their business models is they actually build state government buildings. Just kind of the typical model there, though, they actually own the dirt, the company does, and then
Yes, sir.
build a facility and lease both the land and the building back to the state.
Yes, sir.
So in this one, it's a little bit different, because everything's operating on a lease arrangement.
Any other questions for Jason?
Jason, do they have a time estimate from the time we execute this, if we do, until they think they would be bringing back to us the conceptual drawings, cost estimates and those things?
I think it'll be in the next few months, yes, sir. I think
Okay.
It'll happen pretty quick.
I know they've been doing preliminary
Yes, sir.
looking, if nothing else.
I know their person on the ground is itching to move forward if y'all are.
Any more questions for Jason?
I'm assuming, Jason, that when they come back with the plans and everything like that, there will be ample opportunity for public input and not a hearing or anything as such, but at least a public meeting
Certainly.
for comments for people,
Sure.
either here or as a special meeting.
Whatever council desires, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
Mayor, I'd make the motion to authorize staff to enter into this contract as presented between the city and North 94 Land Development LLC for the potential design and construction of the discussed new city hall.
Second.
I have a motion from Alan and a second from Brandon. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And back to Jason, number 3, consider approval of development contract.
That was it, sir.
That was it, right
That
there.
was it. Yes, sir.
Okay, it is 5:51, and we're gonna adjourn the special city council special meeting.